Welcome, Debz Cooper, Global Stressologist. Thank you for joining me here today. Oh, yes. Thanks for joining me, Debz Cooper, Global Stressologist. So today we're talking about habits. Ooh, wow, this is going to be an interesting one. Actually, I think I say that every time. Anyway, why our habits rule us is what I'm talking about. So let me know if you're here live on the call or if you are watching, where are you watching from? If it's a replay, that would be really fabulous. So let's get into this. Why our habits rule us. So, clearly I think of these titles because of what's going on around me. And today's one, I asked some people about what is a habit? Why do you think it rules you and controls you? And I come up with three answers. And this is what they said to me. So the first one was like, because we do. Looking at me like I'm silly, even asking a question. Because we do, like, duh. The other one was, because it's easy. And I was like, yeah, you're right. A habit can be seen as easy. And the next one was, why are you asking me? Like, why are you actually asking me? So I didn't just ask three people, but they were the common thread that kept coming out about when I asked about habits and why do you think they actually control us, rule us, run our world. So then I went to the dictionary, and I went to the dictionary meaning of habit. And that's my bigger dog of the two saying hello. So the meaning behind habits is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially that one that is hard to give up. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting what a habit is. And the other one was obviously a loose garment worn by a member of the religious order. And so I was actually thinking a nun's outfit was a habit. I didn't know that that's what men are. So I suspect that means men, a religious order as well. So for me, a habit is something that you repeat over and over again and can't not do it. But if you do not do it, we said about hard to give up. If you do not do it, you beat yourself up over not doing it. So that's what I came up with, which is very similar to what they've got. Theirs is just maybe worded a little bit differently to mine. So where do habits come from? And when I think about where do habits come from, for me, and from what I've recognized, is they come from our past stories or our past programs or anything that we are attached to. And when I think about this, I think either myself, a past story from myself or from others, and it's something I've either seen or heard. So I might watch somebody, not myself, I might watch somebody, and that's something I've seen and I've attached to that story. So when I think about what the bigger picture of that is, I see people when they leave a restaurant and they go, thank you, thanks for having me, thanks, and they leave and they do that. In fact, I actually do that. That's something. But I saw somebody do that one day and I went, oh gosh, I actually don't thank the whole staff when I leave. I thank, sometimes I thank the chef or I thank the waitress or waiter or I thank the person at the door or anything like that, but I don't actually thank the whole, thanks very much. Although my daughter seems to think it's the Queen going, thank you everybody, I'm leaving now, thank you. Well, not quite, but I do associate with that. So if you've seen somebody or heard something and you go, wow, that's really nice, I'm going to do that. Oh, that's really nice, I'm going to do that. So you're attaching to it from a story that you've seen or heard. Now, you may think it's nice, but if you think it's not nice, you're going to attach yourself to it and you will not take on that habit. You'll go, oh, that's just rude, or I don't like that, or that's entitled, or that's whatever you want to label it as. I'm definitely not going to do that. So that's also a habit, is something that you attach yourself to that you're not going to do. You're going to make yourself blatantly, I'm never going to do that. I'm not going to do that. There is no way you're going to get me to do that. So it's obviously something that you've seen or heard and you've attached to that story or program that you've enlisted into your world. So maybe the other thing is, if you're seeing someone, you go to an event and you're seeing someone with a lot of colourful pens. I'll see, I actually do that one as well. And you see someone with a whole lot of colourful pens and you're like, wow, I wish I was like that. That's really awesome. I love seeing all those people with all those pens and they get them out for each colour and wow, that's amazing. And you get really attached to that. And you go, I'm going to do that. When I next go to an event, I'm going to do that. But what happens is, if you don't go to that event, or if you go to another event and you don't do that, what do? You beat yourself up. When I talk about beat yourself up, I'm saying you talk negative about yourself, or you just get frustrated and you're like, oh, why didn't I do that? So you beat yourself up. Now, you've got to be aware that within habit, there's your habits that you've enlisted into your world, or there's other people's habits that you've attached to. Now, when you've attached to other people's habits, it may not stick with you. And you may go, wow, I want to do that. Oh, I didn't do that. I didn't get my colourful pens. And you start a little bit envious and you start beating yourself up. So that's not great for you. We know that that's not great. And that means that it's actually not important for you. It's not important to you. It's not important for you. It's not important for whatever's going on around you because you didn't do it. So one of the habits I have, and I'm clearly going to give you some of my habits, tell you my habits, is one of my habits I have is I have to clean the kitchen before I go to bed. I have to make sure the things are in the dishwasher, I've got a clean sink or whatever. And that has come from when I was part of the Christchurch earthquake 10 years ago. And I didn't clean my sink, I didn't empty my things, I didn't put them in the dishwasher. I cooked a roast meal and I had my oven tray full of my water sitting on top of my gas hob. And what happened when the earthquake happened, the glasses that were in the sink went down the drain, broke down the incinerator, the water went into the gas. So not only did we have to deal with, the earthquake stuff, but I was also having to deal with my clutter, or whatever you want to label it, not cleaning the kitchen the night before. So then we had to pay more to get the gas stove top fixed because all the water had gone into the gas. The glass went down the drain, so we had to pull this out, blah, 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 blah. So one of the habits now I've associated to myself is always ensure that the kitchen is clean before I go to bed. Now, that's fine for me, but if I live with someone, it may not be their habit. So you've just got to be aware of your space and what's important to you over others. One of my other habits is, does anybody else do that before they go to bed? Be curious. One of my other habits is I make the bed. Now, you'll notice that there's a lot of people say, get up and make your bed for the first thing. Now, I don't recall Mum and Dad drilling me into me to make my bed. I don't remember bad memories of having to make my bed or anything. But I do know I feel like I've achieved something making the bed, and I absolutely love getting into bed at night knowing it's actually been made all day. But this is my stuff. This is my things that I do. A lot of people who, there's a lot of empowerment coaches and they say, make your bed every day. There's a lot of Air Force military people. There's an amazing guy who says, start your day with making your bed. I agree. But it's up to you. What habits are yours. And the idea is to find out where they have come from. If you don't do your habit, so maybe you go to the gym and you don't go to the gym that day, if you don't do your habit, your mind can turn chaotic. And when your mind is chaotic, shite doesn't get done. Very little gets done in your world. So the key is when you find this habit, acknowledge it and see, is it your habit or is it somebody else's that you've attached to, or someone's told you something that you have to do? And it's really important to do that. So you must recognize it and do not get frustrated if other people don't do your habit. So, I was a single mum, I'm a single mum, to a girl, in fact she turns 21 this year, so no longer the little thing. But I drilled into her to do certain things like put your washing in the washing basket, make sure your dishes go in the dishwasher or whatever it is. So they are my habits that I've installed into her. Now they can be habits or they can be stories or whatever you want to label them, or morals and ethics that I grew up with that I'm installing in my daughter, whatever you want to label it. But if she doesn't want to do it, she's not going to do it. clearly. And I'm going to get more and more frustrated with her not doing that stuff. So you've heard the stuff, don't sweat the small stuff. So is it really, really, really important? Is there a drive behind why you do this? And that's what we want to dig into. You've got to be flexible with your habit. You must be flexible with your habit. So like I said, if you don't go to the gym, I remember talking about the gym, if you don't go to the gym, it's okay. You can do something else. Somebody else may distract you and you might have another appointment during the gym time, just whatever it is, then that's okay. You just have to move that to later in the day or something different. So don't beat yourself up, but be very flexible with your habits, whatever they are. Don't let them run you. You can control them. Don't let them run you. Them being the habits, the habits, the habits. So when you look at your habits, are they healthy to you, or do they interfere with your life, your money, your social world, your business, whatever it is? So if they're not healthy, if they are not healthy habits, now I'm not here to tell you what's healthy and what's not, because I do things that are healthy for me and not healthy for me. I like a bit of both. If they are not healthy, you must look at, step one, you must look at the value that habit provides. You must look at that to acknowledge, wow, no wonder I can't give it up, or no wonder I love it so much. Look at all the pleasure it brings me, whatever that is. This is if it's not healthy. Well, I say not healthy. But you must acknowledge how much pleasure you get out of that habit, because you can't run away from this stuff and you can't hide from it. So you recognize how much value that habit gives you, and then you go, do I really want to replace it? And you replace it with something that gives you just as much fulfillment, just as much pleasure, just as much whatever. So this is about you acknowledging that habit. You must acknowledge that habit. Like I say, you cannot run from it. Acknowledge that habit, see the pleasure it gives you, and replace it or not. That's all there is to it. Now, if it's healthy, keep doing it. If it's healthy, absolutely keep doing it. But it's got to be healthy to you, not healthy to others. I don't know if I've said this enough. This has to be you, from your soul, whatever makes you feel important in your world, not what others tell you to do. Because the more you do what others tell you to do, you're going to go down. Ultimately, you're going to go down in the end, and that's not what we want. And, oh, Josie said, yes. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, I like that. I'm actually just going to read this out, because thank you, Josie. That's really important. I'm not a routine person by nature, and I'd like to create a few daily habits that will help me be more productive. Nice. When I'm feeling a little anxious, habits give structure and are really helpful. And when I come into one of those phases, I always wish I had more good, helpful habits in place. Can you speak to how to get going with new habits? Thank you. Ooh, I like the talk of values around habits. I'm actually going to say, one of the things before I wrap up in a minute, is try not to label them healthy and not healthy. Now, if I have said healthy and not healthy, try not to label those habits bad and good. Just label them as a habit. But you will know, really, you'll know if they're great habits or not great habits. You'll know if they're healthy or unhealthy. You'll already know that, but try not to label them. Just go, oh, this is a red habit, this is a green habit, or this is a pink habit, this is a purple habit, whatever. But if you try not to label them, they are just actually a habit. It just eases your mind to not beating yourself up over certain things. So I would like to say, don't try and convince others to change their habits. So if you have, and I'm going to say the smoking one, if you have been a smoker and you have given up smoking, don't go around and tell all your friends how wonderful it is to give up smoking and how healthy you are and how much better you are off of this, etc., etc. Because if you do that, they are going to walk from you. So don't be that pointy dictator, okay? So just go, gosh, I'm really feeling very different with no smoking, they will see that in you. You don't have to go, you need to give up the smokes. You need to do this. You need to do that. Because I tell you what, you're going to lose your friends as quick as you can possibly get. So ensure that your habits are yours. You don't dictate to others. When it comes to telling others that they should give up their habits because they're so bad, and don't even roll your eyes because you know you've already done it. When you get to that point, take a look at yourself. Reach out to a professional. Yes, this is a professional. And make an appointment with me and let's talk about those habits that you have and why they're so important to you before you go and dictate to the other person to tell them. It's really important to see what's best for you and your soul. You will always do what feels right for you, not for other people. So, that's me, why our habits rule us. So tell me what your habits are and what you're going to do about it. Well, I'd love to hear. I'd love to know. I've shared a couple of my habits with you. I've got plenty more, I'm sure. So I'm going to put a link in there if you'd like to book a time with me. Debz Cooper, Global Stressologist. That's me signing off, over and out. Thank you very much and appreciate those habits and see the pleasure you already get from them already. Thanks very much, people. See you next time.